So do you have any maybe specific examples that you've used to kind of save you a lot of time with AI currently?
Um, so in my projects, I don't use AI. However, like I have read in the past studies that
Yeah.
uh, use, different atomic structures to predict your properties. Um, in particular, our lab is using um, a modeling software that one of our students is actually developing.
Mm.
And we keep increasing the amount of atoms in the system. And of course, when you have more data points or more atoms, you're going to have more computational power that's required for the system.
Yeah.
Um, and that's something that we're grappling with at the moment.
Mm.
Um, but in the future, I think that having, like we were saying, more data points, it'll be easier to predict the properties.
Yeah, AI can definitely uh, kind of transform this process completely to make it both more easier and also take it to a whole new level of the type of research that people are able to do.
Yeah, it might be, it might provide a shortcut to, or provide insight that you are going down a dead end road before you actually head down that road.
Yeah.
So we can get to solutions faster. Maybe it doesn't provide the solution, but it could provide insight onto which direction to take.
Hmm. So going towards a more collaborative topic, how do you think using interdisciplinary research and kind of combining multiple different fields and different researchers can kind of overall enhance a single project, maybe a project that you've been working on?
Yeah. I mean, everybody is an expert in something, right?
Mhm.
So if you have a computer science expert, machine learning expert, and a material scientist together, um, we can optimize each portion of the project and talk to each other to see how, um, each area can help each other
Mhm.
to reach the common goal, right? Um, like for example, uh, if you have the material scientist that says, "Hey, I want to make a material that is strong enough to hold an elephant or something," right? I'm sure we could just predict that right now with our heads because that's not those are variables that we can describe right now, right? But the machine learning scientists or computer scientists will say, okay, well, what are the variables that we need to define? What are our boundaries? Um, what is more important? Which boundary is more important than the other? And how big is the system, right? How big do we need to consider this for it to work, right?
Yeah.
How detrimental is it if it doesn't work? What are the consequences and stuff like that? So
Mm.
having different people from different backgrounds and different disciplines, you can facilitate, the collaborative environment to ask the right questions that maybe even though everybody there is intelligent, everybody there is an expert in something, but that doesn't mean everybody's going to be asking the same questions. So having that diverse background is really important when collaborating.
Yeah, my favorite, I guess, application of artificial intelligence and machine learning is taking real world problems or challenges and being able to utilize this software to kind of predict or create a new algorithm or thing with these real world applications and being able to use like so many different fields and combine them together is
Mm-hmm.
the perfect way to utilize artificial intelligence in a way that it can also impact tangible real world things.
Definitely. And I think with the rise of ChatGPT and other tools that we've seen around, It's so much more accessible than it used to be. I mean, I'm sure you've heard about this way before any of that was made public, right? But like this is something that anybody can Google up and use and make their life easier by doing so. And I just think that's so incredible.
So, as a senior in high school, and I'm very curious about how you kind of got into this field and how your academic journey has kind of impacted where you are today. So, what advice would you maybe give students who are interested in pursuing a career in material science or other fields?
I think the first thing you need to consider is, do you like science? Do you like doing science? And what mode do you like doing science in? Because at that at the point that you're at, you need to decide what skills you think would be best to learn. So for me, that was I like being in a lab environment.
Yeah.
I like tangible things. I like to see what's happening in front of me. Um, so I do a lot of experimentation. I do very, very little computer analysis. Uh, the most that I would do is maybe use MATLAB for data acquisition or analysis, but very rarely. Um, so, but there definitely is a place for that, right? There are plenty of projects or questions we can answer using that type of tool.
Mhm.
So if that's something you want to do, you want to make sure that you get good at using those tools. So
Yeah.
for me, that was learning about lab safety, learning about chemical reactions, learning what is able to be mixed and not mixed in lab. Um, and also, um, that has to do too with people management as well. You know, you're going to have, um, as you move up, less experienced lab mates that you might need to help or mentor or mentees that undergraduate students that you might be working with and helping them through their academic career. So I think it really, as a high school senior, considering where you want to go in the future, I think the first step is asking yourself, what do you like to do? Do you like to sit at your desk and code or to finish up a project and see it all populate all at once? Or do you like to see things slowly come together by one variable at a time? Um, like that's how it goes experimentally. Generally, you don't get the right answer right away,
Yeah.
uh, or see the fruits of your labor right away, at least. Um, so yeah, that is, I think, the first step because there's so many different ways to study material science. It doesn't have to be in the lab, but it can be, and it is interesting in both respects.
Yeah, thank you so much. Finally, for the audience and any listeners, how do you want people to maybe, or what do you suggest would be the best way to kind of stay updated with the latest advancements in either your field or the general field of material science?
So there are so many professional societies that have student chapters or a student organization attached to it. Um, for me, since I deal mostly with ceramic materials, there is the American Ceramic Society or ACERS, the European Ceramic Society or ECERS. There are uh, there's the Minerals, Metals, and Materials Society or TMS. Um, there's the American Society of Materials or ASM. There are just so many, and there are a ton of discounts on memberships, which if you asked your teacher or your professor or your science club mentor or anything, I'm sure like it's so cheap that they would probably pay for it for you. And it lasts for like a year or two. So if that's something you're interested in, you can join and then they send you, newsletters every month, or some of them even send like paper magazines to your house, which is super cool. You can see, what's happening. And they do features on diversity and inclusion too, which is really awesome to see in the field.
Mm. Yeah, I'm actually subscribed to one called Material Advantage, and reading
Oh,
the
that one's a great one too. Yeah,
reading the weekly kind of newsletter that they send out is super interesting and just helps kind of motivate me to keep kind of researching and hoping to work in this field.
definitely.
So, as we end this podcast, is there anything you'd like to add?
I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me today about material science. And I'm glad that you're interested in it as your future develops.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.